Where my stand at? Dang
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome back to the Roundtable Talk Show. Good evening, family. Yes, indeed. It's
Good
Tuesday.
evening.
What's up, Dust? I didn't see you tip up in here.
Yeah, it's good to see y'all, fellas.
Yes, indeed. She was scared. She was scared. She thought she was gonna have to take y'all shot too. No, but good evening, family. Welcome back to the Roundtable Talk Show on the Knowledge is Power podcast live. I'm your host, Christopher Jones. And of course, you know, it's another Tuesday, y'all. I mean, like, I'm extremely excited about it. Not only that it is Tuesday, but tonight's episode is called Reparations by Another Name. And so I definitely wanted the opportunity to not talk about, what we've seen solely in the 1776 fund. If you don't know what that is, please go look that up. You can Google that right now, 1776 fund. Um, but we want to know who gets repaired, who gets studied, and who America decides is worth making whole in
Mm-mm.
some instances. So let's stop arguing over whether America believes in reparations. We're going to definitely get that off of the table right now. America has already paid reparations. I want y'all to know that America has already paid reparations to several individuals already ago. Um, and it just changed the name depending on who receives the money, right? Um, it comes in the terminology of settlement, compensation, relief, victim fund, treaty payment, emergency assistance, bailout, subsidies, rescue packages. Um, I just want you to know that's the same government, same taxpayers, same principle. A documented injury created an obligation to repair. But when descendants of enslaved Americans present documented government harm, America suddenly forgets who r- restitution works or who it goes to or how it works, Then we get another commission, another hearing, another election promise from whoever, another speech, another lesson in patience, like we needed it. And then, another lesson in being studied. Tonight, we're not comparing pain. That's not what we're here to do. Because it's obvious that we are of the targeted people. It's obvious. We are auditing the standard, though. Who gets repaired, who gets studied, and again, who gets told their injuries are too old, too expensive, too complicated, or too politically uncomfortable to make right. And so tonight, we're working, of course, we're going to throw back three shots. Um, Shot number one is who gets made whole. That liquor gonna be nasty, I promise. Shot number two is who gets funded, and shot number three is the price of money. I'm sorry, the price of memory. Same thing, same thing. Um, I definitely want the family that's watching and listening to drop your city in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from, and if you're on as many platforms that we're on, please like, share, subscribe, and other things that you can do to engage our conversation with your entire crew. So with that being said, let me bring in my crew. First up is my big sister, Dr. Catherine Campbell. Say good evening to the people.
Good evening, people.
All right, so we're gonna have to make sure that tonight does not let uh polished language hide an ugly double standard, especially. Dr. Campbell listens to the moral contradiction, the apology without repair, and the acknowledgement without obligation. And even the speech um, that sounds compassionate until budget comes out.
Mm, mm,
Ooh
mm.
wee, welcome to the table, Dr. Campbell.
Thank
My
you.
big brother Perry Busby. Yes, indeed, Queen. My big brother Perry Busby is also here. Say good evening to the people. You
Good
muted.
evening, everyone.
Oh,
Good evening.
well, there you go. There you go. That's Barry White, little brother, of course. And Perry White follows the receipts across all generations tonight. Laws, settlements, commissions, court judgments, appropriations, if you will, bailouts, and congressional graveyard where black repair bills keep getting sent to die, if you will. Big bro, tonight I definitely need that that ledger open. You feel me? Welcome to the table, big bro. Dustin, my little brother Dustin Harris, say good evening to the people.
What up, people?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You heard him. You heard him. Straight shooter down to plain household truth. If somebody damages your property, steals your wages, blocks your opportunity, or leaves a debt unpaid, nobody tells you that acknowledgement should be enough. So tonight, little brother, I definitely need that shikika. Bring that straight measure. You understand what I'm talking about? Welcome back to the table, little brother. And of course, to our listeners, watchers, and viewers, we're going to call y'all our guest on tonight. We're bringing y'all onto the table and into the discussion. So, because this is a serious audit, right? Not who suffered more, not who deserves less. The question definitely is, what standard is America using? So, y'all make sure y'all get ready to answer those as our guest on tonight. And of course, you know, we got some chat questions and some guest questions for y'all to answer as well. So welcome back. Welcome in. Round one, who gets made whole? Of course, the dressing on the rim, if you will, is documented injury, political influence, and selective repair. Of course, like I said, shot one begins with the record. America has repaired government cause harm before and is in the or was in the position to do it again. Um, but I definitely want you all to know that Japanese Americans incarcerated during World War II received a federal apology monetarily and individual compensation. Congress established a compensation fund after September 11th for those victims' families. Native nations have received judgments and treaty related settlement, if you will, even though money did not always return the land to a restorative factor, if you will. Black farmers finally received settlements after being after provoking discrimination by the United States Department of Agriculture. Banks received rescue packages, of course, under a few presidents, if y'all remember, when the financial system collapsed. hmm Corporations and industries have received subsidies, emergency assistance, tax relief, and government protection. The auto industry. So the machinery exists, y'all, and I ain't talking about the one we drive. Congress knows how to authorize money. Agencies know how to process claims. Courts know how to approve settlements. Governments know how to calculate injury, if you will. What changes is not the ability to do those things. What changes is the claimant and everybody that's at the table. You can raise both hands because you are the claimant. So tonight is that's tonight's audit, y'all. That's what we definitely want to look at, right? Both hands. uh Dr. Campbell, you ready for your shot?
With tahine, please.
Look, I'm gonna do lemon and then tahine, okay? Lemon juice
Bingo.
and then tahini. Gotcha, gotcha,
Lime.
gotcha.
Lime is better.
Lime?
Yes,
Okay.
lime and
Miss
tahini.
Healthier. Okay, I got you. What separates a historical tragedy that becomes public compensation from one that becomes political controversy?
It boils down to three things: timing, fault,
Mm.
and clout.
Timing.
Timing, yeah. Timing, if the victims are still alive to vote or sue, you cut a check. If it's ancient history, it's just political ammo for the news cycle. Fault, if it was a rogue accident or a freak mistake, you settle. If it
Mm-hmm.
was official state policy, admitting fault means admitting the whole system is rotten. So politicians will fight that admission to the death.
Yes, indeed.
And clout, if the victims are a powerful organized group, they get cash. If
Mhm.
they're a marginalized group with no political muscle, they get a half-hearted "we regret" statement and decades of endless arguing over status.
Hmm.
So, simply put, you get compensated when paying up is cheaper than the political headache. You get controversy when paying up would force the country to rewrite its own origin story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the distinction, right?
That's the distinction.
The injury is not always determined, always determines the response, or by the response, if you will.
Mm-mm. If it's
Political
cheaper, they'll
comfort
pay it.
does, though. Right. Political comfort does. That's what you said. That's what I heard. Political,
Mm-hmm.
monetary comfort, even. Some harms
Hmm.
can be admitted without challenging the country's current distribution of wealth and power. And that and if you ask me, black reparations cannot. Black repair forces America to ask who inherited the benefit.
Hmm.
What institutions still hold the benefit? Expect especially majority of these PWIs. And how much of today's inequality was publicly engineered? That's why this conversation gets treated like danger instead of debt. Oh,
Hmm.
you can't talk about that. Don't talk about that. Man, get shot. What message does it send when one community receives material repair while another still is asking for the government to study whether repair is appropriate? Anybody willing to answer that?
Anybody but black.
I heard an amen in my lower left corner. I heard amen. Anybody else?
It screams one thing loud and clear, that
Hmm.
your pain is a fact to the
Hmm.
first group and your pain is a debate topic to the other. Cash says case closed. The study says we're stalling until you get tired. It's the bluntest signal possible of who has political muscle and who's just an inconvenience.
Absolutely. It tells the waiting community that proof is not enough. It tells them recognition depends on influence. And it tells every future person or future generation thereafter that government wrongdoing creates an obligation only when the political system chooses to honor it. Only.
Only.
Period. Your shot. Looking across American history, if you will, what patterns emerge when we examine who receives government compensation and how quickly it happens.
Yeah, that's like a mosquito hitting a big vein on this one. A malnourished mosquito hitting a good one of them good juicy veins with this one. But uh I mean we if we start with again, I always like going in this way back machine and say take us back to the beginning.
Correct.
And so when we see uh right after the Civil War, and one of the compensations coming out of the Civil War was that former slave owners were given $300 per slave.
Correct. Say that again. Who got it? The slave?
Yeah, the former slave owners got three hundred
Oh,
dollars
oh, the
per head for
former
every
slave
slave that
owner.
they lost, while the former enslaved got nothing.
Wait. What happened
It
to 30, 40 acres? What happened to the 10
Well, I
acres? What
mean,
happened
now
to
if we're gonna look at, and that's really called the Sherman's Special Field Order number 15.
uh-huh, uh-huh. I don't want to sidetrack you. I just wanted people to know that the 40 acres in the mule never came. Go ahead, go ahead. My bad.
Right, the 40 acres and a mule came through under a field order, but was revoked a year later. Not to mention, uh, when we talk about reparations, it has been one of the longest studies uh, done
In
in
the history
American
of
history.
America. In the history
Uh,
of all of America. You got muted, Perry.
you asked a question about timing, and at best we can say that timing uh, is not solely based on the depth of the harm.
Hmm.
That if we're going to look at time, is really based on the proximity of those who are closest to power.
Right.
I.e., we go back to the slave owners who were close to the proximity, who were close to power, and so their $300, of course, per slave came in much faster. If we want to even look at, um, you mentioned earlier in about the banking industry, uh, that those were the TARP funds in 2008, and TARP funding came. It happened in months.
Months.
In months. The only exception with it being the impact was the 9/11 fund, which
Hmm.
happened in a matter of days, but
Hmm.
again, taking into the account the affliction and America's, you know, uh, how we looked on the public stage. Again, when if you do a drill down on that 9/11 funding, you'll see that many families
Hmm.
were not compensated
Hmm.
fairly.
Hmm.
You mentioned the Japanese and their internment camps, and so when we look at the amount of time between that internment and when that act came on, I think it was what 1988. Some 46 years had
46
passed.
years. Yeah.
But when you look at the compensation, they gave compensation of $20,000,
Hmm.
but that was only to the people who were interned,
Hmm.
not to
Hmm.
their descendants. If
Right.
your
Right.
grandfather had been interned and your grandfather died, his heirs got nothing,
Nothing. Absolutely.
absolutely nothing. And so again, we see uh, a slow handout, and then we see it slowly being clawed back. The
Mm,
same thing happened with black farmers, as you said, with the Pickford Act. They came out with additional funding and
mm-hmm.
then realized that it wasn't enough. And by the time they came up with the second round of funding, most black farmers had lost their
The
farm,
land,
and so
right?
by then they lost access to the funding. So again, we see this, that when it becomes again what we say too big to fail,
Mm-hmm.
we see that the money, as you say, it's only a stroke of the pen, and a gentleman's agreement,
Yes,
and the
sir.
laws just kind of come in and fit in where they need to solidify what has already been done.
Yep, yep, yep. The pattern is urgency, y'all. For institutions and procedure for black people, that's what it is. When markets shake, action comes quickly. That's what I heard. When industries or markets claim collapse, relief moves very fast. Um, when politically protected claimants alleged government abuse, billion-dollar proposals can appear before the public understands the arrangement was even made. I just want y'all to know. But black descendants, I heard you say, bring centuries of government records, laws, maps, property transfers, lending data, court decisions, and documented discrimination, and we're still introduced to another study or silence. I mean, the delay is not because the evidence is weak or is not there. The delay protects the people and the institutions still benefiting from the outcome. So I just want y'all to know that's what's going on when it comes to the 1776 fund. Dustin shot
Indeed.
delay. At what point does delay become its own form of denial, little brother?
Well, the Nile is a river in Egypt. This is hatred and fear disguised as financial responsibility. So let's talk
Mm,
the math.
mm,
Reparations would cost about 14 trillion to 16 trillion, which equates to roughly $350,000 per eligible individual for
Hmm.
the estimate 40 million black descendants of enslaved people in this country.
Hmm.
So that sounds like a lot. I get it. Until you start seeing the annual basis of what the US government sends outside this country, which is between 50 to $100 billion per year. Just a random countries. I'm just gonna name the top five.
mm,
Hmm.
mm,
Go ahead.
Israel, 337 billion.
Mm.
Egypt, 199 billion.
Hmm.
What was formerly South Vietnam, 193.8 billion.
Hmm.
Afghanistan, 168.5 billion.
Mm.
South Korea,
mm, mm.
127.6 billion.
Mm.
So if y'all quick with the math, I'm gonna help you out with it. It would take at those rates of how they paying out money, it would take about 140 years to fully pay reparations. And that's okay. Because hell, it took them 161 years and they still ain't got to that 40 acres and a mule. So if you start
I'm just
today,
saying.
you can be that much closer to paying it off.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, especially with the amount of money that's being spent from that same community, refuse to repair. Delay becomes denial when facts are established. Dustin, but government keeps resetting the conversation, or like they say, moving the goalposts. When the witness died, like Perry said, when the land changes, like Dr. Campbell said, when the records are buried or burned or bombed, when another generation inherits the loss, when lawmakers introduce the same study for decades and still act like this country is at the beginning of the discussion. Make that make sense.
Mm.
At that point, waiting is not caution, waiting is policy. You might as well go ahead and put it in the policy. I mean, everybody in the military that joined the military, I don't care what branch of service it was, knows the standard. Hurry up and
Hurry
wait.
up and wait.
Hurry up and wait. Um, Dr. Campbell, pull me up.
If America has repeatedly found ways to repair government caused harm, I'm sorry, wait a minute. If America has repeatedly found ways to repair government caused harm, why does Black repair always seem to begin with another conversation instead of another solution?
Well, first I heard black repair is expensive. Dustin just ran them numbers down, so I heard
He
black
did.
repair is very expensive, and I also heard in a two previous shows, maybe three now, that black racism is also expensive, or black
Mm,
prejudice is also
mhm,
expensive. Uh, so, but black repair is not only about a past injury, y'all. It it exposes the present arrangement, especially in this country. That is why repairing Japanese American incarcerated or endured individuals required the country to admit they created harm. Especially at a grave wartime injustice imposed on individuals that were suspected to be terrorists. Mind you, I don't see nothing happening to the domestic terrorists that we have currently right now. They're not even in jail, let alone in
mm,
an endearment camp, or the camps that they got set aside with ICE raiding the communities. That's what I'm seeing. Compensation from September 11th victims, as Perry said, created a process of for families harmed by an extraordinary national attack. Not Pearl Harbor.
mhm.
Don't make me go there. Did I say that?
Ooh, out loud.
September 11th, not Pearl Harbor. September 11th. But like Perry said, that was there to make the world see America as a little bit more concerned about atrocities that happen on their own soil. Again, that was right. That was right. Um, Settling proven discrimination claims, or by some black farmers. Again, like Perry said, the ones that's still alive or still had the property to pass down from generation to generation, that a federal agency had denied people equal treatment. That was right. Nothing about supporting those remedies require us to deny anybody, and I do mean anybody else's justice. But federal reparations for descendants of enslaved Africans forces a larger confrontation, one that America is not willing to have, regardless to the price tag of it. If I mean, it forces America to admit that slavery was not simply uh, private and cruel. It was laws that was passed. It was taxations that was accrued, uh, or acquired, or even reprimanded on people that had little to nothing to compensate or pay. It was banking, it was insurance, land policy, policing, or the other name that they used for it, courts. If you know, the judges, whether they were paid the friends of the Klan or not, federal compromise. Again, we're looking at the FBI. Never mind. Never mind. That never mind.
Mhm.
It was state enforcement. The emancipation came without full economic repair, right? Black codes replaced slavery legal control. Jim Crow centered places enforced, you know, racial hierarchy, especially after a while. Black faucets, black restaurants, backdoor deals. Racial terror removed black people from land and opportunity, even when they thought that they could afford a house in the suburbs because they built all the houses out there. I'm just saying, I'm just saying, I'm just saying. Federal housing policy helped build white wealth while excluding black families, including black veterans who too were eligible allegedly for these housing VA housing grants and Pell grants and Montgomery GI bills that individuals never received. Urban renewal demonstrated and uh, demolished black neighborhoods, whether it was from a railroad track, a port, a plant, uh, um, yeah, could just completely displace people, or like we've also read, from the sky, bombing from the sky, especially when it came to white terrorists in our country. Again, highways cut through black communities, discriminatory lending practices, suppressed ownership in our community. Again, we may have had, you know, the capital, like they say, we may have had the credit, but no, you still got denied. Unequal schools, limited opportunity for individuals when it came to exposure. Government policy did not merely fail to stop the damage. I just want y'all to know government helped design, enforce, and finance as well as preserve it. That's what we got going on right now. That is why Black repair gets another conversation or another study. A real remedy would expose how much of a modern American rests on a publicly protected transfer of labor, land, wealth, and opportunity. Period. It would force Dr. Campbell a question that this country, I know for sure, keeps avoiding. That's the part speeches cannot settle. That's the part, you know, memories or memorials cannot repay. That's the part a commission cannot bury forever, especially them numbers that Dustin told you is going to continue to creep up every single cycle. House what's that, House Bill 40, HR 40 does not even write the final check. I'm just saying, HR 40 opens the door for the discussion. Again, we back at the table to discuss these things.
Mm.
It proposes a federal commission to study the history and recommended remedies. That's it. And even that has spent decades being treated like a national emergency. Think about that. America is not only refusing the remedy, it's keeping it's keeping the resisting an official pathway toward defining the remedy. So let's stop pretending that the obstacle, y'all, is complexity, because obviously it's not. Government has handled complex claims every day, especially the recent one, where the commander in chief or the president of the United States have just sued the entity or the company or the country that he runs. Make that make sense.
Mm.
The obstacle is political will. America knows how to repair harm. It doesn't want to establish that the black community or the black claim is an enforceable national obligation. Period. Check question
Hmm.
number one. Let's think about this. What matters the most for y'all? Is it recognition? Put a one in the chat. Put a two in the chat for accountability. Put a three in the chat for compensation. Put a four in the chat for consistency. Put a five in the chat for all of it. Drop your number. Drop your number. Um, Roundtable question. Does America apply one standard for repairing historical harm, or does the standard change depending on who's asking? Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
Okay, so for the chat question,
Mm-hmm.
I said accountability, because recognition without accountability is just a nice speech, and compensation without accountability is just hush money, and
Correct.
consistency without accountability is just the luck of the draw. So
Hmm.
accountability is the engine. It forces the other three to actually mean something. It says we broke it, we own it, and we're on the hook to fix it. Without that,
Right.
you're just decorating the crime scene.
I mean, with what? Lipstick or flashing lights?
Mm,
I like flashing lights.
okay. Okay. And so now for the roundtable question. Does America apply one standard for repairing a historical harm, or does the standard change depending on who's asking?
Hmm.
Uh, Not even close. It completely changes, and the shift is brutally obvious. Here's the rule of thumb: if your harm was a one-time glitch, like Japanese internment, you get a check and an apology, easy fix. If your harm is a core feature of the country's foundation, like slavery or broken treaties, you get a task force and a 10-year study and a lot of speeches.
Hmm.
Translation: the standard isn't about fairness, it's about whether repairing the harm requires a minor paperwork fix or a total rewrite of the national origin story.
Absolutely.
If it's the latter, they'll drag their feet forever. The message: the more your pain built this country, the harder they'll make you beg for a penny.
Mm. They don't even make them no more.
How?
So you completely out of there.
Out of
You
there.
completely out of there. Golly, Dr. Campbell, you ain't have to hit him that hard.
Yes, I did.
Perry, you Perry, you have the floor.
Yeah, I would agree with Dr. Campbell with regard to question one. Accountability is the most important. Uh,
Hmm.
Recognition is just formal finger pointing. That's all it is. Or giving or getting that certificate for participation. That's really what the recognition is. Uh, the compensation, the compensation.
It's hush money.
Yeah, you got muted.
in in one sense, it is hush money. Uh, but what
Got muted.
I mean by the
Oh, they
historical
playing with you. They muting and stuff.
Dag you it.
for real. What they showing by the historical record though is giving you a check without a signature,
Hmm.
which is a check you can't cash. I mean, unless you're gonna be fraud about it. So
Right.
what is good? What is the sense in having this big check? You know, because we love to have photos with big checks. Uh,
I got
but
one
you get a check with no signature is really worse than a blank check. And the
in my
Mm.
consistency
sign.
without accountability just
Correct.
means that there's something going on, but no one's really uh, given any assessment or monitoring to it. And again, is there a separate standard? Uh, I will say, our history has shown that there has been a separate standard.
Mm-hmm.
But I must say, in these current times, uh, we can't really say that there is a different standard when they are attempting to wipe out all history, not just Black
Mm.
All of
history.
it.
I mean,
All of it.
and so when we can't be true about history and we
Mm.
can't be true about lineage, then how can we be true about the culpability? And it goes both ways because they're really playing the long game, because if future generations have no understanding or even the ability to demand reparations, they've won by default, because power concedes nothing
Yeah,
without a
yeah,
demand.
yes.
And so part of the onus is on us to keep the history, to keep the ass, to keep this uh, atrocity front and center,
Mm,
and not just to keep just reparations for itself, but to articulate and framework it, and create a framework such that we explain it correctly. Because if you ask most folk about reparations, it's just all them Negroes want money.
yeah, yeah.
And I don't mean that just for the others. I mean that for Black folk as well. And yes, it is about money. Don't get me wrong. I see Justin going,
Like, give
but
me my money. Dustin say, give me my money. Run me my money, man.
but it goes beyond money. It's as you say. It's about repair. It's about equity. It's
Mm-hmm.
about the things that put us on not a level playing field, but a playing field that is playable.
Mm, mm. Man, Dustin, you have the floor. Golly.
For the chat question, it's accountability, like everybody said. But for as the group question, they have no issue repairing your hurt as long as you're no darker than hex code pound EADDCA. Please feel free to go ahead and Google that code. It'll tell you what shade of color that is. And for y'all who don't have access to Google, I will give you an example. You see the palm of my hand? You see how it's not completely white, but it's very light, but has a smidget of color to it? That is hex code that I just mentioned. So if you darker than this hex code, they ain't for to pay for your hurt. Notice how the back of my hand and the front of my hand don't look the same.
Mm. Mm.
This one gets nothing. This one will get paid. So for those who, got Google out, go ahead and look it up. It's hex code #EADDCA. It'll come out about that color. So anybody darker than that, you ain't getting nothing. Get comfortable. But if you're lighter than that, hey, good luck.
I promise you, a blind person saw that.
I mean, I mean, the way he spelled that out, yes indeed, they
Yeah.
synced it. Yes indeed, they synced that, Dr. Campbell. Oh man. I agree with each and every one of you. um and I would add that the standards change a little bit. America does not use one neutral formula. It considers political influence, uh, political or public sympathy, economic power, if you will, legal access, media framing, time proximity. national identity, and when and whether repair would threaten existing wealth.
Mm.
That's the part right there. When a claim fits the country's preferred story, compensation can be called restitution, or or uh, reimagining what these things, or the relationship with this community looks like. Right, when it protects an industry, it becomes assistance, or when it responds to discrimination through litigation, it becomes settlement. Um, and then I don't know what's going to happen now that the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division is complete. Never mind. Never mind. When
Mm. Mm.
politically connected people claim government prosecution, it can become weaponized funds, or 1776 funds. But when Black descendants, or even Katrina, let me bring it further, Katrina victims, Rita victims, the recent folks
Ooh.
in the Carolinas, the recent folks in the panhandle of Texas, or the recent folks that drowned out man, come on, man, stop playing. Suddenly the word reparations become retroactive.
Mm.
That is why language matters, y'all. That's why your engagement in politics matters.
Mm. Come on
America
now.
is not rejecting the principle. America is I mean, it didn't change the label to control who receives public sympathy. Period. So the standard is not simply was government responsible? That was harm documented? Can the injury be traced? Can the remedy be designed? What does the remedy even look like if it don't have a dollar tag assigned to it? If we were if that's where we if that's where the standard is, if that's where we are in this conversation, the Black claim would already be in remedy phase. If that's where we were. The real standard um also often becomes, does the claimant have enough political power to make delay more expensive than action? Dustin told y'all that they keep delaying it, and the price amount increases every year. If you ask me, every cycle that they pass an annual budget in the House and the Senate. But again, we don't engage in politics. That's why organization matters, y'all. That's why understanding or engaging in this conversation, which is politics, that's why it matters. Moral truth without political leverage becomes another report, period. And history without power becomes curriculum. Look at what
Mm. Mm. Mm.
they are saying, that the transatlantic slave trade was a job offer, y'all, for individuals to increase their trades and skills now. But
Mm.
yet, here it is, the individuals that you say came to this country to increase their trades and skills, the descendants of those individuals are still asking for the money that those trades and skills offered to this country. Moving right along. Round two. History, what gets funded? I almost got aggravated. What gets funded? History that gets funded. History that gets funded. The flavor around that rim, unless y'all ask for tahini like Dr. Campbell, is budgets, memorials, settlements, and unfinished national obligations. Um, Perry, you ready for your shot? I knew that. I knew this was going. I
Yeah,
knew this was going to aggravate me. I knew it. I knew it. I knew
yeah, I'm here. Okay.
it. Perry, What do America's budget reveal that its political speeches often avoid?
That its budget is prioritized based on its ability to maintain power,
Mm-hmm.
its ability to compensate its benefactors, and its ability to uh, establish or at least maintain some status quo,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
especially among its labor. And so when we look at the cost of labor, we look at the cost uh, to the populace. It is always at a minimal output than it is to the benefactors. I mean, we look at our military budget, we look at our state budget, especially
Don't
one
get
that's
Dustin
just
started.
passed. The one that has just passed. I mean,
I was about to say, because I
after
know
two
he's
more
seen it.
ICE killings, I mean, we're still putting money into a failed experiment. And
Man.
so uh, I mean, it just shows our hubris uh, uh, on both sides of the political spectrum. Uh, that the establishment or that shadow government itself is willing uh, to not restrain any cost for its own longevity.
Mm. Mm. Oh man. I agree, Pig. I mean, because in business, budgets reveal commitment and to to
Mm-hmm.
to your service, right? As well as your customers. There's a customer appreciation that just happened. Shout out to the seafood store on Concord, black owned seafood store on Concord, right across the street from the city water department. No, city streets and drainage department. Shout out to them for that. But you know, budgets reveal real commitment. A politician or politics can praise justice for free. Appropriating money requires a choice. Uh, you know, the budget shows, like he said, which injury becomes an obligation, which institution gets protected, and which community is expected to keep waiting, and that's us. The speech tells us what governments want remembered, and the budget tells us what governments intends to repair. But that's obviously not in our favor, like he said. The guest shot. Who should a nation determine? Again, who should a nation determine when historical injustice deserves material repair instead of symbolic acknowledgement? That's the guest question. Of course, that's for you all as well in the chat. Anybody at the table want to respond to that?
Well, the rule is brutally simple. Ask three blunt questions. Are the victim?
Three?
Are the
Just three? Because I
Yeah,
got a
I narrowed it
dissertation,
down.
Dr. Campbell.
I narrowed it down. I narrowed it
You
down.
being nice. I like it. I like it. Look, that's for these note takers. Go ahead. Get your notebook.
Okay, and so I'll numerate them. Number one, are the victims still alive? If they're breathing, cut a check. If they're ghosts, keep it symbolic. Cash can't fix a grave. Number two, can you put a price tag on the loss? Stolen
Mm,
land and unpaid wages have receipts. Lost culture and dignity don't. Material
mm.
repair only works when the damage is countable. And number three, who currently holds the bag? If a
Wait, you
specific
said You said when the damage is cannibal or countable.
Countable.
Oh, okay, because I was about to say, because you know they eat it, they was eating us too. Go ahead, Dr. Campbell.
Yeah, material repair only works when the damage is countable. Like you can count it, you know?
I
Okay.
got you now.
Okay. Number three, who currently holds the bag? If a specific university, bank, or corporation still profits from that old harm, they
Yeah.
they pay cash. If it's
Mm-hmm.
just society at large, you get a museum exhibit and a prayer. Bottom line, you owe cash when the harm has a dollar sign and a living recipient. You owe
Mm.
speeches when it's ancient, vague, and or everyone's guilty. Mixing
Mm-hmm.
those up is how you turn justice into a circus.
Yeah. Yeah. The standard should begin with documented government responsibility, period. Measurable injury, period. Identifiable harmed communities, period. Continuing
Period.
consequences, period.
Period.
And a remedy connected to the harm, period. That's what
Hmm.
I heard. Not popularity, not race, not party, not political convenience. A consistent standard should survive whoever is making the claim. I just want y'all to know. Dustin, you shot.
I'm just
If
gonna say,
public
I'm just hold on. I'm just gonna say, I don't care which party cut my check, just cut it.
and make sure it's accurate. Make sure it's accurate, cause I do an audit on my own check. Don't try me.
I know math.
I graduated from Central Senior High School. I'm just saying, Dustin, if public money reflects public priorities, what priorities, and I do mean what priorities, are being revealed in this particular day and time?
Well, apparently the priorities is being the world's laughing stock and leader in failure. Because let's go over the list of failures. Rushing into a failed war, a failed ballroom slash bunker on the White House, failed management of a reflecting pool at also at said White House, job market failure, healthcare system failure, food failure, education failure. I'll stop there because it's really getting sad.
Oh, I had done been died, Dr. Campbell. I promise. Oh, yes. No, you could have kept going because that was fueling my flame. I'm not lying. I was like, yes, yes. I was counting them. But I agree. You don't want to, you know, spit in their face too hard and make them stop listening. I agree, little brother. I ain't even mad at you. I ain't even mad. I ain't no rebuttal, especially when you told us about what's going on around our house and not the one you live in. The one we
Hmm.
got the orange
The one we
orangutan
pay for.
performing in. Yeah, the one we
Hmm.
pay all the bills for and don't even visit. Some of us ain't never even visited. I just want y'all to know. That's the indictment. That's
And
the
I don't know if
indictment.
y'all seen the new updates on that reflective pool. That the reason
Ain't
it
he tearing
failed,
down the White House?
yeah. But the reason it failed is getting cleaned and all that stuff is because the dummy decided to drive a tank over it. Because when they drained it the first time, he drove the president's limo, basically, which is basically a tank with all the armor on it. He
You're right.
drove
You're right.
through the reflected pond to give a
Hmm.
little show of hoorah force or whatever. And so it damaged the reflected pond surface.
Hmm. And what's
And then
damaged
he
on the
tried to
surface
blame
is obviously
that
gonna
former
damage the
Olympian.
foundation.
Oh, that Olympian is
Right.
still on trial for it.
Right. 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 I'm just saying. I'm just saying, y'all. And again, that's the indictment. Period. Dr. Campbell, you shot.
Yes.
Can reconciliation ever be complete if the injury is acknowledged but the repair is permanently postponed?
Absolutely not. It's a one-way apology.
Hmm.
You're basically saying, we hear you, we believe you, but we're not moving an inch. Here's the raw truth. Acknowledgement
That's the
is
raw
just
truth.
words. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that again. Acknowledgement is just words. It
Mm-hmm.
costs nothing. Repair is action. It costs something. If
Yes.
repair is permanently postponed,
Mm-hmm.
reconciliation isn't complete. It's stalled
Right.
indefinitely. The power
Indefinitely.
imbalance stays exactly the same if you're asked. I'm sorry, you're asking the injured party to carry the weight of forgiveness while the other side carries zero weight of sacrifice. Plain and
Mm-hmm.
simple. You can't shake hands when one hand is empty and the other hand is still clutching what it stole. That's not reconciliation. That's just a polite pause before the next argument.
Or you the next time you steal, get your hand on my pocket.
Yeah.
I agree, Dr. Campbell. No is no. No means no. You're not gonna do nothing. Acknowledgement without remedy may begin reconciliation. May begin reconciliation, but it cannot, hear me and hear me well, cannot complete it. That's just the part of it. You cannot call a wound, like Dr. Campbell say, you cannot call a wound healed because the person who caused it finally admitted, that's where that blood come from. You knew you cut me. What you mean? Recognition has to lead somewhere, and it shouldn't be the obstacle. It should be the bank. Brinks, even if you trying to go where I'm going, Brinks. Take me to Brinks. Who gonna put me up?
If if governments finance the history they choose to remember, what histories are still waiting on a budget instead of another speech?
Man, Black history is still waiting on the budget.
Mm.
Not all of it. Not all of it. I mean, America will fund selective parts, if you will. We heard a museum, a memorial, a commemorative event, a heritage month, a historical marker, a speech of a half cock speech. I'm sorry, the EMS just passed by my house. A half cock speech on Dr. Martin Luther King, because you know they don't want to say them all. They ain't gonna say it all. They gonna only half cock it. A Juneteenth celebration, partial. That's not even happening on June 19th. A public statement about slavery being wrong. But the history that demands material obligation keeps getting separated from the history America is comfortable celebrating, like Independence Day. America will honor Harriet Tubman's courage, but avoid economic systems. The economic system she escaped, and then under this administration, after years of a study of putting her on a bill, it's no longer. We might as well put that on the shelf. That's not gonna happen. Make that make sense. It will quote Frederick Douglass, but resist the debt created by the government. Uh, he challenged that Frederick Douglass challenged. It will celebrate Black Wall Street as a story of resilience while avoiding the wealth destroyed and never restored. Make that make sense. On any Black Wall Street, Beaumont, raise your hand. Houston, raise your hand. New Orleans, raise your hand. Baton Rouge, raise your hand. Jennings, raise your hand. I'm just saying. Little, small Black Wall Streets all across the South. Why? Because it's not like we had option to shop elsewhere. So our money had no choice but to circulate in our community over and over and over again. It will praise Black men and women veterans while avoiding the federal benefits they very well may have been denied. And here it is, you know, the commemoration of redlining. Yeah, that's how you say it. Commemorate. That's how you say it. Commemoration of redlining. That's it. While families still live with the ownership gap that redlining helped create.
Mm.
Mind you, as a veteran, with a guaranteed $499,999 guaranteed loan, a black veteran don't get the same as that. What's that number? What was that? What was that code, Dustin? I'm just saying
X
that
code.
don't match the X code. It will. I mean, it will teach that urban harmed, urban renewal harm black neighborhoods while new development continues restoring displaced communities. Make that make sense. That is selective memory, y'all. And history gets funded when government accepts that the past created a present responsibility. That's why budgets matter. That's why September 11 victims compensation fund was not just a remembrance. That it was an official, and I mean an official determination that identify that identified harm, um, as well as required a claim process as payment. I'm just saying, Japanese Americans' address or redress was not only an apology, it was an individual compensation. Black farmer settlements were not simply reports about discrimination. They were created. They created a legal pathway for payments. Controversial anti-weaponization fund, which is the 1776 fund, is even a more revealing example that this government don't give no thoughts about what it did to the black people and legacy of this of in our communities. The government found a way to announce nearly $1.8 billion for people claiming political targeting, including potential claimants connected to highly controversial prosecutions through an arrangement later blocked that
Mm.
abandoned and condemned by judges. Can you say January 6th
Good.
insurrectionists
Mm.
and the
Mm-hmm.
current president of the United States? The point that is not the very person claiming government abuse deserves nothing. The point is the speed, the imagination, if you will, the gall, if you will, the political urgency. $1 billion mechanism appeared because people near power said, or near near the tyrant said they were wronged. Meanwhile, descendants of enslaved Africans have spent decades trying to get a study commission through Congress. And I mean, with details. That contrast is the episode, y'all. That's this episode. When politically connected pain arrives, government can intervene or invent a fund. When black people historically or historical debt arrives, government inverts another reason to wait or turns a deaf ear. So which histories are still awaiting on the budget? Slavery, federal betrayal after emancipation, black land loss, racial terror, redlining, urban renewal, discriminatory federal lending, especially toward veterans. If you don't want to pay nobody, pay the veterans. I bet you'll come out a little bit better than sitting up here talking about we're gonna pay for the enslaved man. Or how about touch the environmental sacrifice zones? My bad, that's too many black people. That's too many black people. That's too many blacks and that's too many poor whites. Cause they still live amongst us too. Stop playing. The public policies that built a racial wealth divide and then pretended that outcome was personal behavior. Those histories don't need another ceremonial sentence or another holiday. They need policy. I'm just yeah. But because I'm getting ready to call names. I'm about yeah. Chat question number 2. Um um what matters the most to you? Is it remembering, repairing, teaching, funding, or 5 all of them? Put a 1 in the chat for remembering, put a 2 in the chat for repairing, put a 3 in the chat for teaching, put a 4 in the chat for funding, and put a 5 in the chat for all of them. Roundtable question number 2. Calm down. Calm down. Round question number 2. When does symbolic recognition stop being enough? Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
Okay, so for the chat question, I'm going to say repairing, and the
Eh?
rest are hollow without it.
I'm sorry,
So,
Dr. Campbell. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dr. Campbell. If y'all could click on the comments right fast, Dr. Campbell, click on the comments in the middle right fast.
I can't.
You can't see that? I'm going to read
Nuh-uh,
the
so you'll have
comment.
to read it. Yeah.
I'm going to read the comment. Can we show this on stage?
It's on side the screen. You can read it.
Okay, so it says, Janice Spitfire 9884. American got no reparations, not fair. African Americans. Then they commented, American fund animal research, but leaves us out. I wish I could tag that in the chat. You understand me?
14 billion annually in them research too.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I just had to throw that out there right fast. Dr. Campbell, go ahead. I'm sorry. Thank you for tuning in. James Spitfire.
Okay, so the chat question, I said repairing, and the rest are hollow without it. Remembering without repairing is just nostalgia for a wound. Teaching without
Mm.
repairing is just academic theater. Funding without repairing is just paying off a headache, not fixing a broken leg. Repairing is the only one that changes the material reality for the people still hurting. The other
Mm.
three are just supporting acts, important, but they're not the main event.
Correct.
That said, you can do all four. That's the gold standard. But if you force me to pick one that does the most and means the most, it's the repair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the roundtable question: when does symbolic recognition stop being enough? It stops being enough the moment it's used as a substitute for action, not a stepping stone to it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the sharp line. Symbols are fine when the wound is still bleeding and you need to stop the bleeding fast. Symbols are insulting when the wound is healed over, but the scar is still pulling and the other side is still sitting on the wealth. Translation: the a plaque and a holiday are enough only if the gaps in wealth, health, and opportunity have actually closed. If
Mm-hmm.
the stats still show the same old patterns from 100 years ago, a statue isn't recognition, it's distraction. Bottom line, symbols stop being enough the second you realize they cost nothing. Real repair costs something. If they're not writing a check, changing a law, or giving back land, they're actually just decorating the crime scene.
Man, what we said at first, confetti this
Mm,
time. It's
yeah.
confetti this time. It's
The
confetti.
sparkly confetti, the one that sticks.
Yeah, right. Big dumb confetti.
Yeah.
Oh man. Perry, you have the floor.
Uh, when it comes to the chat question, um, I really put 1 and 3 as the most important, remembering and teaching,
Mm-hmm.
because repair doesn't come by itself. Again, as a quoting Frederick Douglass,
Mm-hmm.
power concedes nothing without a demand. Asking for repair, seeking repair doesn't happen on its own. It happens when those impacted refuse to move from it without recompense, without some recompense, without some acknowledgement. And that only happens if we continue to teach it and remember it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to you don't have to drill it in any Jewish person about the Holocaust.
You see me lean forward.
Right. You don't have to drill it in them uh about about their history, about them being the chosen people, and
Mm-hmm.
whether they gloss over it or remember it in some way, they they are committed to the teaching
Correct.
of their lineage. And so that's why I put those two as important. Uh, and again, you know, could say ditto to Dr. Campbell with regards to symbolic recognition. We understand that it doesn't. Uh, the moment we realize that it's not going enough to meet the need, or it's only there
Yeah.
to identify the need, but not provide any corrective, is the moment that we should reevaluate our commitment to the cause in these issues. And so,
Absolutely.
as we've said all along, uh, we look at this, and sometimes we get caught up in the size of the check, and looking at the big check, not really the sum of the check, but just the size of the check. We
Right.
like big check moments. Uh and and so you say, well, we got as Dustin said, $3 billion into that issue sounds big until you realize that it doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of even repairing the need. I mean, it
Correct.
only gets us, if you look at any of these other studies, it becomes more of a money into recycling. It recycles old
Oh.
gatekeepers.
Uh-huh.
It recycles old established mindsets that keep the community in a stronghold.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen it. We've seen it not just in terms of issues of reparations, but we see it in the school. We see it in even the repair of our education system in the school board.
Oh, don't get Dustin started. Don't get him started, because I promise I'm trying to be good for Miss for Miss Savoy. I'm really, and that's it. That's it. That's my aunt. That's, I mean, and I'm sure there's other allies in BISD, but yeah. Dustin, you ready? Go ahead, Dustin. You got the floor, man.
For the check question, I'm gonna say all five because I don't want to let nobody off the hook by skipping a few. So go ahead and knock them all out.
Mm.
But as for the question, I don't think it was ever enough. That's if you ask me. Because last time I checked, this world and especially the United States doesn't run off ego strokes. Some
Mm,
need you to actually do something.
mm. Dustin say, you struck your ego all you want. And it still ain't gonna put no money in our pot. It still ain't gonna repair nothing. I mean, I heard it. Symbolic recognition stops being enough when the institution admits the harm but refuses the obligation, just like Perry said, just like Dr. Campbell said, just like Dustin said. That's the line that most of us have to draw, right? An apology matters, yes. Memorial matters, yes. A museum matters, yes, yes, it does. A curriculum matters, absolutely, 100%, because we need to, like we said, educate individuals on these things, right? Um, but one of those replaces what was materially lost. Which one of those replaces which was what that where's the loss repaired at in any of that is what I'm asking. I tried to be politically correct or but sometimes you just got to be direct. What money is that gonna put in my pocket, if you will? Where is that going to help me um undo the wrongs that was done to me and my lineage without us even being able to come up out of the spaces or place you put us in, right? If government admits that housing policies deny black people, black families ownership, symbolic recognition does not restore equity. I just want y'all to know. If government admits black farmers were discriminated against, a plaque does not save them the farm. If government admits highways and byways, and because that's true, and urban renewal destroy black neighborhoods. Let's not forget railroads. Destroy black neighborhoods. A historical marker does not rebuild the business district. If government admits, and I mean local governments, especially here, admits racial terror, transferred land, uh, commemoration does not return the inheritance. I, uh, Symbolic becomes insulting to a people when it is used to close a case that material justice has not settled. A Black American people has been offered too many ceremonies in place of restitution. I just want y'all to know that. Oh, we got a ceremony. We got a lapel pinning ceremony. You know, we got too many elected officials want to attend the remembrance but avoid the appropriation that the remembrance even calls for. They will march across the bridge. They will take a photo, quote the ancestor wrong and or half-ass, sign the hymn, is the hymnal book or the guest book, join hand in singing some of them same hymns, and the issue is and issue a proclamation, then vote against the structure that would repair the descendant. No, don't celebrate our survival as an excuse to avoid the debt created by what you created and we had to survive. We did not survive because the injury was small. We survived because our people are strong. Our strength does not erase government responsibility, though. I just want you to understand that. We're not something to marvel at and study as a people, and then ostracized in policy, and then turn politics, the very conversation about policy, which is politics, against us. That's crazy. Round three. Round three is the shot number three is the price of money. What's going around the rim? Dr. Campbell, Wichita is calculation, political will, and a debt America remind or renamed uh, and keeps renaming, if you will. Um, Dustin, your shot.
Mm-hmm.
What responsibility does every generation have to address the injuries created by previous and current governments?
At about minimum, I mean the least you can do. Every generation should address past government wrongs such as systematic inequalities, environmental derogation, and unpaid debt, because we're supposed to
Supposed to.
make it better for those who come after us.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that's why I said that's the bare minimum that you can do.
Mm.
Man, and I'm talking about the very bare minimum. Every generation inherit both benefits and obligation. Just like he said, it should be your obligation. We do not reject government, property, institutions, treaties, debt, or authority because the people who created them are dead. That's not how that goes. That's not how that goes. So death cannot erase responsibility only when the claimant is black. Make that make sense. If the benefits survive, the obligation survived as well. Guest chat. I'm sorry, guest chat. Should government repair be based on documented harm, political influence, or public opinion? Who got that?
I will.
Okay.
It should be based on documented harm, full stop. The other two are corruptions of justice. Public opinion is just a popularity contest. It leaves justice up to whoever yells loudest or trends
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter. And political
Especially there.
influence, yeah. Political influence is just legalized bribery. It means the well connected gets paid and the voiceless gets nothing. Documented harm is the only honest metric. Receipts, timelines, stolen land deeds, unpaid wages. Hard numbers don't lie and don't have feelings. But let's
Correct.
be real. That's how it should work. How it actually works, influence and optics usually drown out the paperwork. If
Mm-hmm.
we ran it right, the file cabinet decides, not lobbyists, not the pollsters.
Um, I would say documented harm should establish obligation. At least, at the least, evidence should shape the remedy. Um, Public participation can guide the implementation of how that goes, right? Especially the public that it's going to, not the mass. But political influence and popularity should not determine whether justice exists. Otherwise, compensation becomes privilege, if you will. And from what we're seeing on this side, as the privileged people of America, to make this country what it was and is economically, politically, and innovationally. Run us our coin because every invention that this country has that was created by a black person or a black hand here in America went global. Don't worry, my hand is out. Dr. Campbell,
Mm,
your shot.
ready.
Um, what truth about reparations make America most uncomfortable?
The
I
most
should have said
uncomfortable
white America, huh?
the
Go ahead, Dr. Campbell. I'm sorry.
most uncomfortable truth is that the harm wasn't a bug, it was a business model. America's wealth was
No,
literally
it wouldn't.
dug
It was concepts like the president got the offer. Go
America's
ahead. I'm
wealth was
sorry.
literally dug, built, and sown with unpaid hands. The brutal kicker: we can print trillions for wars or bank bailouts in a weekend, but for this debt, the checkbook suddenly disappears. It
All of a
proves
sudden.
we still value the profits from the pain more than the people who felt it. Paying up would mean admitting the American dream wasn't earned, it was inherited off someone else's back. That's the mirror nobody wants to look into.
Mm, mm. The past is still sitting on somebody's account. I mean, shoulders.
Mm,
Oops. In somebody's house. Oh, my
mm,
bad. In their attic. Maybe even in the chair that they sitting in don't realize that it's made of Negro hair. Never
mm.
mind. That's the discomfort. The harm didn't disappear, y'all. The chair is still in the attic. I'm just telling y'all. You got the voodoo doll and don't know it's a doll, boo.
Mm.
You stand in a house where the molding, the beautiful crown molding is made of Negro bone and hair. Never mind. Never mind. Perry, you ready for your shot? Oh, Dr.
Yes,
Campbell,
sir.
you got me ready to give him to him some more. Okay, go ahead, Perry. My bad. Oh, I gotta read the question.
Take them through there now.
Man, Perry, if HR 40 remains stalled while other forms of compensation continue, what does that reveal about political will?
that is non-existent or that it doesn't have the power that's required.
Mm,
And I say that primarily with this current administration in mind. I mean, we've seen how this administration has impacted uh, black dollars from
mm,
labor to and in the reduction of our federal labor force. We've seen it with HBCUs. We've seen it in many ways. So HR 40 and this in this administration uh, again just says that it doesn't really have the will or the leadership. I mean to bring it to pass. Uh, I think it will say more in future administrations that may be more uh, uh, progressive,
mm.
but yet fail to take the extra steps. I think then that it becomes the issue of do we have the right leadership and does that leadership understand the agenda?
Mm. Especially the one of us
Yeah,
that some people try to scurry away from, also
right,
known as the black agenda. But like you said, it also reveals that Congress is not waiting on information.
right,
It's waiting on courage.
yeah.
Like you said, somebody courageous enough that will be accessible, if you will, for HR 40 to even come into fruition,
Mm-hmm.
especially in some form since 1989. You would assume, but the current version remains in committee. We still in committee.
Right.
At some point, at some point, a study bill that cannot even receive full action becomes proof of the avoidance it was created to examine.
Exactly.
Welcome back, Dr. Campbell. I thought I was going to have to put my own shot.
You know, it knocked all of us off at the same time on mine.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
on your side.
mhm. Okay, so pouring your shot. If America can calculate the cost of every war, every bailout, every settlement, and every subsidy, why does the cost of repairing Black America suddenly become impossible to measure?
Because the number doesn't scare America. That's not what scare America. They're not afraid of the number. The admission does. I mean, we could say about what's written in history books all along, all we want, but America calculates the value of human life in wrongful death cases. Obviously, it calculates lost wages, future income, property appreciation, compound interest, damages from discrimination, if you will, environmental harm. It calculates what a corporation lost during a shutdown, or what a bank needs to survive, what an industry needs to remain competitive. Even government calculates when government intends to act. So when people say black repair is impossible to calculate, what they often mean is, y'all, they do not want the calculation to create an enforceable obligation. I'm gonna say it again. They do not want the calculation of our pain, suffering, and long neglected compensation to create an enforceable obligation. Martin told us a long time ago that the check was your check is hot, America. Your check is hot. And I'm not gonna run into my bank again and have to pay the bounce fee. Because once the government calculates the damage, the public will see the scale. I promise. Stolen labor, unpaid wages, denied land, lost property appreciation, or governments lying in bed to create what we know as eminent domain, blocked home ownership, denied business capital, destroyed commercial districts, unequal education, health damage, environmental exposure and poisoning, discriminatory lending, lost inheritance. The calculation would express that the racial wealth divide was not even created by black laziness. How about it? And they quick to say that. It was manufactured through policy. That is why America retreats into confusion when this type of conversation comes up. It is a political erase. It's political easier to erase, uh, to call the claim impossible than to admit the debt is enormous. Dustin did. Why can't they? But reparations don't require one magical number dropped from the heavens above or the white heavens that they say. A serious process can identify categories of injury, determine um, eligible populations, even examine districts and intergenerational consequences, like this trauma that we keep telling y'all dealing with just as well as we dealing with. The difference between remedies from different harms. Establish transparent standards, prioritize people and communities most directly affected, especially if you know that their citizenry spawned off of nasty slave owners. I almost called them something else. But we definitely need to create oversight, set timelines, measure outcomes. Government does not do this in complex compensation systems already. They expecting you to do it. The question is whether America is willing to apply to black people the same problem-solving influence it applied or applies when banks, industries, political connected climates or claimants or other injured communities demand action. And let me say something to black people too. We cannot allow the reparations conversation to remain a slogan with no governing discipline. especially knowing that the midterm elections is coming up. We need informed demands, genealogical infrastructure, historical records, legal strategies, economic analysis, community priorities, federal, state, and local priorital approaches. That's what has to happen. Standards that prevent political gatekeepers from controlling the remedy and or community gatekeepers from letting us know. Oh, trust me, I knew you was in there too, the community gatekeeper, because many of y'all don't want reparations because you can't find your attachment. Oops. Reparations cannot become another industry for everybody who gets paid to discuss black injury except black families and black communities. We have to be prepared to defend the claim, y'all, protect the process, and even govern the remedy. Because obviously, those that we elect and put in, and those that are put in place have no clue about what it is that we need. So, no, the cost is not impossible to measure. The political courage is missing. That's what's missing, especially when majority of you Negroes choose to remove yourself from politics. Again, politics is nothing but conversation. And they want you to believe that politics has everything to do with policy, just so you and many like you won't even come into the conversation so that they can say, oh, they wasn't even at the table. Check question number 3. What justice is missing? What is justice missing in the collective? Is it courage? Put a 1 in the chat. Is it consistency? Put a 2 in the chat. Is it political will? Put a 3 in the chat. Is it honest history? Put a 4 in the chat. And for all of the above, put a 5 in the chat. Roundtable question number 3. If governments repeatedly compensate some injuries while identifyingly studying others, what does that teach the future generations about whose history truly matters? Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
Okay, so for the chat question, what is justice missing? All of the above. But if I have to point to one that starts the dominoes, it's courage. And here's why. Honest history exists. We just refuse to teach it. That
Mm,
takes guts.
mm.
Consistency is possible. We just apply it selectively. That takes nerve to fix. Political will is available. We just waste it on wars and tax cuts. That takes spine to redirect. So courage
Understand.
is the missing ingredient because without it, the other 3 are just nice ideas sitting on a shelf. You can have the fact, the plan, and the money, but if
Mm-hmm.
nobody's brave enough to face the backlash, nothing moves.
I
Bottom
promise.
line, justice isn't a missing piece, it's missing a backbone. Everything else follows once someone stands up and says, enough stalling.
Did you just call
Okay?
them people invertebrates?
I said it. I did not stutter. So the roundtable question, is that where I am?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if government repeatedly compensates some injuries while indefinitely studying others, what does that teach future generations about whose history truly matters? It teaches future generations a brutally simple lesson. Some pain is debt, other pain is just a topic for your history paper. And here's what that lesson looks like. Kids watch Group A get a check. Group B gets a committee. They learn exactly whose ancestors were worth fixing. They notice if you study long enough, you never have to act. So study becomes the polite word for not a priority. They internalize. The government's attention span is a map of who has leverage, not who has suffered. The bottom line, you're telling every kid in this country that justice isn't about fairness, it's about force. The group that can make noise gets repaired. The group that can't gets a footnote. That's a
Mm.
real civic lesson and it sticks.
Like for real. Harry, you have the floor.
Regarding the chat question, I will say courage. Again, I guess tonight is Frederick Douglass' night. But Frederick Douglass said, when a government finds out just how much injustice a people is willing to accept, that's just how much government it's going to get. And so it takes
Mm,
courage
mm, mm.
more than anything to speak up in those times, more than consistency or political will. We've seen that every progressive movement that has been made has been birthed out of someone making a courageous step. So that starts there.
Mm-hmm.
With regard to the question about what does it teach future generations about whose history truly matters, um, I think that's self-explanatory, but I think the history that future generations must learn is the motives and uh and the ways in which uh America moves.
Mm,
So if it's going to learn anything from that history, it needs to learn how to adapt to the changes, uh, and really make a concerted effort to um, really expose uh, the fallacy in their belief.
oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. I thought you was gonna say somebody
I
in
mean,
particular, but yeah, go
because
ahead.
when we look at it, any attempts to provide inequity is
Mm,
an unwise decision. It is a foolish decision. We can look at this current administration and we all can say that it's the gang that can't shoot straight, but yet they shoot straight when it comes to things that impact us the most.
mm-hmm.
Uh, one thing I think future generations has to learn, Chris, that you and I spoke about earlier, is understanding the rules of engagement.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Because
sir.
what history has taught us is that America will renege not only on his word but on his written word, on his treaties, on his vows.
Yep. Precedent.
When you're facing someone who isn't willing to be upfront, I think bringing that idea that I'm going to make you rise up to a standard, I think
Right.
is a foolish strategy. It has no
Yes.
place in this to try to bring them up to your standard of arguing so that we can have this discourse. No, I got to meet you where you are.
Right.
And if that takes a 2x4 because I'm dealing with this mule, then I better beat this mule's ass with this 2x4
You
to
show
get it
better.
going the way I want to.
Correct. Correct. You show better. And hit him in the right spot too. Cause if not, he
Right.
might charge you. Dustin, you got the floor.
I'm gonna just say I'm gonna go straight to the question. It teaches don't take any IOUs. It's your money, it's your property, it's your land. Request it now.
Get it. Come on, JG Wentworth. Oh, 8776 now. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I agree. It teaches future generations that citizenship is not weighed equally in this country. It teaches, the next generation that some pain creates an obligation and other pain creates a discussion. Um, it teaches some of them that political influence, even, especially when we finally get them to understand the meaning of the vote. It teaches political influence can matter more than documented injury. It teaches them that budgets rank human worth, even in this country, right? And it teaches, especially Black children, that their ancestors can build an entire country, defend the entire country, and others around the world pay taxes to the same country and still have their claim treated like an unreasonable demand.
Mm, mm, mm.
That lesson is dangerous, y'all. Especially, especially in a place because it's just dangerous because the government cannot ask people it cannot ask people to trust the law while applying repair selectively. And especially if we are being targeted, the targeted people again, it cannot preach shared citizenship and practice unequal restoration at the same time. It cannot say every citizen is equal while some communities receive restoration and others receive another commission. And this is why representation is not only about money, especially if the person you trying to vote for keep asking you for $1. You
Mm.
and 364 million more dollars means they got 364 million dollars from 364 million people in your community. And they are about meaningful citizenship. Does government owe the same duty to repair Black citizens that it has recognized for others? If the answer is yes, then build the process. If the answer is no, then stop lying about, you know, equal protection and equal national belonging and all that other hoopla that y'all say is equal upon under the law. Because just like Perry mentioned, you'll even undo your own precedent, which thus became law to say, oh no, it's not that no more. Because I just want you to know, even in the Supreme Court, contradiction is no longer hidden. America has already proven that it can compensate. It has already proven that it can apologize. It already proved that it can create a fund. It is
Mm.
already proven that it can establish a commission, process claims, evaluate evidence, issue payments, and appropriate billions. Billions. The only unresolved issue is whether America will recognize descendants of enslaved Africans as a population whose documented injury creates a national obligation. That's the question. That's the question sitting in the room, as well as for this particular episode. Another generation should not go uh, to the life beyond into transition without the inheriting of what was unanswered or uncompensated. I'm just saying. That's just the way I feel. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Now, before we close, I definitely want to put this conversation in its proper place. Dr. Campbell, you have the floor to give us, our final charge or words of the week, followed by Perry and then Dustin, and then I'll close.
The dead is known. Who's old is known. History checks receipts, not speeches.
Mm,
Justice isn't complicated. We just pretend it is. That's all I got.
correct. Perry, you got the floor.
Uh, the history we avoid ends up becoming an anchor,
Mm,
uh, and it slows our progress. It pretty much gets us to, I won't even say being on a hamster wheel. We are just stagnant, and we can see that in some cities uh, that have not come to grips with its past, that has not made the progressive steps to move forward. Um, I was just reading this past week. There's a new book called uh, "They How They Stole a City,"
mm,
how white supremacists stole a city, uh, and it's about how white supremacists in 1898 took over the city of Wilmington, North Carolina.
mm-hmm,
Came in and just, I mean, they got rid of the city council.
mm-hmm,
And what was most telling about this story is that generations later, uh, the lady who wrote the book, Lauren, and I can't remember last name, but she was a child, and she saw pictures of city leaders uh, as stained glass in the church, and as kids, they didn't really know anything about the history, but they accepted it, only to find out that the pastor, who was Colonel Walker, I mean, who was this person on the stained glass, he was one of the leaders of the white supremacist group, and he
mm-hmm.
was the pastor of the church at the time.
Correct.
Hmm.
And so for 50, 60 plus years,
Yeah.
white supremacists led this city. And now they are coming to grips with this because now their grandchildren and descendants are having to deal with this history. And
Mm,
some of it now they're having to understand because some people are celebrating
mm-hmm.
their forefathers when they're feeling nothing but, you know, the embarrassment of those cities. And so, I think lessons like this are always, while they're hard, it is essential that we keep them at the forefront of our kids,
Mm-hmm.
at the forefront of our descendants, that we continue to provide the corrective until
Absolutely.
someone gets the courage to take this forward.
Right. Bold enough to. Dustin, you had the floor.
I ain't really got no word or nothing for today. No quote, no nothing. But I did notice a few things. Like last week, I said we not the same how we respond to things. Because I don't know if y'all noticed, but there was a group on Facebook that some nice, well, I ain't gonna say nice, some people put together called White Power. And in this Facebook group, they forgot a few steps, like making it private.
Correct.
And so it was infiltrated by, I'm gonna just give a soft number, about 300,000 black people.
That part.
And the question they asked randomly, outside the 300,000 something comments is, well, why are black people in here all of a sudden? But on the
They
flip
knew.
side, there was a page that was all black folks. And some white people came in there and asked if they can talk and ask questions, and they was welcomed. Yeah, whatever you got on your chest, say it. We'll help you out the best we can. It's funny how those two dynamics work.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all
Mm-hmm.
don't marinate on that.
Some people come and reason, and other folks will be like, "What you?" Never mind. Never mind. Family, tonight was not about whether America believes in reparations. That question has already been answered. I definitely want you to know that we see it, and many of us before us seen it too. America believes in repair when it comes to recognition and obligation. Tonight was not about selection. Who gets repaired? We don't want to know that. Who gets studied? Who gets funded? Who gets settlement? Who gets an apology with a check? Who gets a memorial without material restoration? Who gets told to wait until the country becomes comfortable with the truth enough to compensate? We established something important tonight. I definitely want y'all to know that reparations already exist in Americans' government. They exist under different names, and we named compensation, restitution, settlement, relief, victim assistance, treaty judgment, emergency rescue, bailout, subsidy. The language, the label changes. The principle, y'all, the principle around those individuals that received any one of those remains the same. When government causes or recognizes memorable harm, government can create a remedy. We've seen it. So the Black reparations debate is not blocked by a lack of precedent. It's blocked by selective political will. America can calculate, it could appropriate, investigate, establish a claims process, identify eligible people and ineligible people, especially to be taking them to a detention camp. Obviously, it can create oversight, issue payment, um, restore land. It could even invest in communities, as well as change policies that hold some of these communities under a thumb or in stronghold. America can do all that. America can definitely do all of that. The question is whether it believes the descendants of enslaved Africans and the ostracized Native Americans. I'm not talking about you $5 ones. I'm talking about the native ones. Are worth the same governmental effort. Let me leave the community with the work. Learn what HR 40 says beyond its name. Go figure that out. Track who sponsored it. Track who blocked it. Ask candidates for a position, not a slogan, on HR 40. Build family genealogy. If you don't have somebody that knows genealogy, Alex Genealogy is one of the best I know. Jesse with Historic Sacred Spaces, Jesse Davis is another one of the best I know. Yeah, peep out some of them individuals. I guarantee you, they'll put you in a place that'll give you a swimming in the head. And if you can't get in touch with them, try to reach out to Henry Louis Gates, and he'll get you situated. I know for sure. Build and identify preserved land records, preserved deeds, preserved military records. Find out if your loved one was attached to the 688 or the Tuskegee Airmen. Find out if they were part of the first Cav or the Sentinel Soldier. Again, study redlining maps, study urban renewal, study federal lending discrimination. Build legal and economic literacy around the claim. Demand transparency remedies. Reject political gatekeeping and the same ones from your community. And do not let the reparations economy become another place where everybody profits from discussing black injury except black descendants. I see you Africans. I saw y'all trying to scoop in on the African American reparations. We saw y'all. And we also saw how America and other of the allies in this country refused to even bring reparations to the global table. We saw y'all. I just want you to know this is not begging, this is accounting. This is not revenge, it is repair, not competing of suffrage. The demand is consistent and it has to be a standard because if America has repeatedly found ways to make others whole after documenting harm, then descendants of enslaved Africans are not asking a strange new principle. We're asking America to stop changing the principle when the claimant just so happened to be black. To my co-host, Dr. Campbell, to Perry Busby, and Dustin Harris, man, thank y'all for bringing that heat, bringing your minds, your honesty, and your that fire to the table. You know, I enjoy that. I love when we go into discussions on these questions and some of the responses were never what we anticipated. To every viewer and listener tonight, thank you for sitting with the conversation that refuses to delay with justice. This has been episode 69, Reparations by Another Name. Until next time, follow the budget. Study the settlement, y'all. Question the label. Track the lawmakers, preserve the history, build the claim, demand the standard, and stop asking whether America can repair Black Americans. That's why it keeps choosing not to. And as always, stay prayed up, stay prayed up, stay prayed up. Thank y'all for watching. God bless. Good night.
Waiting on me. You waiting on me?